edition of SOT Events, Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI. We would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, UBL, ABL, My Bagpack, MK Books, Franklin Covey, Kifayat Publishers, Paramount Books, and Watine for their generous support. A special thanks to our lead sponsor, UBL, whose contribution has made SOT 17 possible and impactful. My name is Zara, and I am an AI announcer for SOT Events. Please take a moment to note these important housekeeping points. Please ensure your cell phones are silent. In case of an emergency, please proceed to your nearest exit point. Always stay calm and follow directions. Please use the SOT app to scan the QR code for session feedback. Share your thoughts on social media using the hashtags Guardians of the Future and SOT 2024. If you need assistance, our ushers are here to help. We are delighted to have you with us today for a panel discussion, which promises to be an insightful and engaging conversation. This panel will explore the screen effect, media's role in shaping culture and perspectives, bringing together thought leaders, experts, and practitioners to share their unique perspectives and engage in a dialogue that inspires action and innovation. It is now my pleasure to introduce our esteemed moderator for this session, Iza Khan. Iza Khan is an accomplished HR professional with 18 years of experience in local and multinational organizations, specializing in HR generalist functions across diverse industries, including pharma and textiles. Iza started her HR career in 2006 with the media industry and has over a decade of experience working for entertainment channels, developing employee relations, policy frameworks, and implementing HR processes, practices, and policies. Being an HR professional, Iza understands the complexities of human behavior and how it has a direct impact on shaping organizations and cultures. Thank you once again for joining us. I now request the moderator of the session, Iza Khan, to join us on stage.
Thank you, Zara. Is this work? Can you guys hear me? Okay, excellent. Thank you, Zara, for that introduction. And Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the 17th edition of SOT. We are all very happy to have you here. Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow from Generative AI. As the moderator of today's panel, the screen effect, media's role in shaping culture and perspectives. It is my pleasure to have all of you here. Thank you very much once again for joining us. We hope that you're going to find this session extremely informative and exciting with an esteemed panel that I'm going to introduce to you. I would like to call them on stage one by one, and then I'm going to give a detailed introduction of all of them. So may I please have Vaniza Ahmed on stage, please? Thank you, Vaniza. Mohib Mirza. Sanam Saeed Mirza. And we also have Nadeem Beg, who is going to be joining us from across the seas shortly. He's a little behind us on time, 5 hours to be exact, but he's going to be joining us shortly. Very quickly, I'd like to go over these amazing people and what they've done in their careers so far. We have Mohib with us. I'm going to start with you, Mohib. Actor, director, presenter, talent show host. I don't think all of these people need an introduction. Thank you very much for being here. Sanam, you've also started your career way back from theater. Amazing work on TV as well as on theater, musicals. You've also represented us internationally. You're also doing a lot of philanthropic work. So thank you very much for being with us. Vanisa Ahmed, supermodel, actor. She has also run an academy for PTV and is now a jewelry designer as well. So thank you very much. I'm going to quickly start with my questions for all of you. We've seen generations and generations of television and how it has impacted media, has impacted lives. Media has impacted the way we operate, our social norms, culture, and not just here, but internationally, all over the world. It has an impact on our generations. Today, what we are here to discuss is how media and how all of you play an important role as writers, producers, actors, directors, people who are on, even now social media is taking over, how that is impacting all our future generations, right? My first question, starting from Vinny maybe, and then maybe we'll go forward, is from what you've seen decades ago on PTV and today, if you can describe in a single line or a word, what is your perception of media today? How has it evolved from what you saw generations ago, 3 decades ago on PTV and today?
3 भी पुरानी बात नहीं है, 3 decades ago. अच्छा, हाँ, तो I did start my acting career from PTV. There's a huge change. I see the change only because PTV was the first national channel of Pakistan और उस वक्त PTV की training होती थी. BBC would come and they would train each and every producer, director. So when I did the play with PTV, उस वक्त की जो writing थी, जो stories थी, they really used to work on it because एक ही national television था और कोई और TV नहीं होता था, satellite नहीं थी. So everybody did depend on PTV to get entertainment, and not just entertainment, all the amazing plays that we had because we had these amazing writers. 30 years later, अब इतने सारे channels आ गए हैं कि हर इंसान writer बन गया, हर इंसान producer बन गया, हर इंसान director बन गया, हर इंसान actor बन गया. So in this Insta world, we've lost maybe जो मेहनत और जो काम किया जाता था scripts के ऊपर, because it does have an impact on culture, of course it does. तो वो फर्क मुझे बहुत नजर आया है कि अब we're churning out more work, but the quality of work is only dependent on ratings today because आपको ratings का नया system आ गया. And unfortunately, people do not want to watch plays with strong moral stories because they're too boring or too depressing. They would rather see the naach gana and having fun. So yes, it's changed a lot. पहले PTV पे ये बिल्कुल नहीं होता था और अब हर channel में, you know, their censorship policies खुल चुकी हुई हैं. And it's an Insta world. Now you can't really stop it. Right. We're talking about 30 years ago. अब so देखो क्या आ गया. AI ने हमारी introduction कराई है आपकी और मेरी.
Yeah.
तो अब तो हमें बहुत कुछ सोचना पड़ेगा.
So what you're saying is quality over quantity.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
Okay, that's the change that you've observed.
And that's why the impact, I feel, can be negative and positive. Because जब सोचे समझे बगैर कोई चीज बनाते हो, it's only because you want to make money and it's not for the culture, it's not for the art, your craft. लेकिन एक्टर्स तो शौकीन होते हैं हम बेचारे, हम तो काम करते हैं शौक से, you know, and अच्छी स्क्रिप्ट आती है तो दिल चाहता है काम करने का, like we were just discussing this earlier. But these days it's very difficult to find a good script.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Sanam.
A word was difficult, maybe a sentence. Maybe a sentence. I just see that it's moved even from maybe 15 years ago when I started, it's moved from a craft to a business.
Yeah.
And Vinny has filled in the blanks for all of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello. सबसे पहले अस्सलाम वालेकुम, बहुत शुक्रिया आप सबका and thank you for the opportunity. मैंने एक जुमला सबसे ज्यादा सुना है कि भाई ड्रामे तो हमारे वक्त में होते थे. मैं इस बात से entirely agree नहीं करता. उस वक्त की जो लिखत थी या जो उस वक्त के राइटर थे, उस स्क्रिप्ट में डेप्थ बहुत थी और इतनी ज्यादा रिस्ट्रिक्शंस थी कि कोई भी बात कहने के लिए एक और तरीका ढूंढना होता था हमेशा, क्योंकि इतना कंट्रोल था सूरत हाल। उसके बाद चैनल्स के इन्फ्लक्स से हुआ कि उनको स्लॉट्स भरने 7 बजे 6:30 बजे व्हाटएवर, जो भी गेम शो दिस दैट, और फिर प्राइम टाइम का ड्रामा। अगर 100 ड्रामे बन रहे हैं तो ऐसा नहीं है कि ड्रामे की क्वालिटी बेहतर नहीं हुई है, विजुअली वो बेहतर नहीं हुआ है, एक्टर्स बेहतर नहीं लग रहे हैं, बेहतर परफॉर्मेंस नहीं हो रही है, मेहनत नहीं हो रही। यस, जो मैंने नहीं कहा है कि जी इंस्टा वाली जो सिचुएशन हो चुकी है, अटेंशन स्पैन शायद कम हो गया है, 72 लाख मिलियन फॉलोअर्स वाले एक्टर्स बहुत सारे आ गए जो कि आई डोंट नो उनका फोकस कहा जाता है, लेकिन मुझे मिल नहीं रहा ऐसा आदमी, मैं ढूंढ रहा हूँ यंग लोगों में। रवैया एक अलग बात है अदाकारों का, लेकिन मेहनत ना करना मुझे ऐसा नजर नहीं आ रहा है। हो सकता है जिस तरह मैं मेहनत करता आया हूँ या जिस तरह मैं करता हूँ काम, वो अप्रोच ना हो उनकी, लेकिन वो सोच नहीं रहे हैं ऐसा नहीं है। वो किसी और दुनिया के आज के लोग हो चुके हैं, लेकिन ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है कि पिछले 10 साल में या 15 साल में विनी ने भी बहुत अच्छे लिखे गए ड्रामे, बहुत सुपर हिट हुए, दुनिया भर में देखे जाते हैं, 1-1 घंटे में 1-1 मिलियन व्यूज होते हैं। तो जो आज एआई का मॉडल नदीम बेग का हमने बनाया है वो ज्यादा बेहतर बता सके।
Okay, thank you. And you've raised a very interesting point about quality again. Competition बढ़ गया है. पहले, as Vinny said, there were fewer channels, one national channel, few actors, गिनती के ड्रामे, गिनती की movies. Do you think, जो आपका point है, मोहिब, because of so many actors, so many opportunities, so many TV channels out there, it has become even more competitive and difficult for actors to now take ground and to kind of establish themselves in the industry?
Absolutely, yes. बहुत मुश्किल है इस वक्त, क्योंकि अपने आप को याद रखवाना इस वक्त सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है। उस वक्त टीवी पे आना मुश्किल था, लेकिन आप आ गए, छोटा सा भी कुछ आपने कर दिया और अच्छा लिखा हुआ मिल गया आपको, तो आप सुपरस्टार हैं, रिकग्नाइज हो जाएंगे। लेकिन इस वक्त आना शायद मुकाबलतन आसान होगा, लेकिन याद रहना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया, क्योंकि रश इन्फ्लक्स बहुत हो गया।
Relevant रहना. Okay, great. And my next question. आजकल हम देख रहे हैं जितना कंटेंट आ रहा है उतना ज्यादा जरूरत हो गई है, और जरूरी भी हो गया है कि हम सोसाइटल नॉर्म्स को, कल्चरल नॉर्म्स को, स्टेरियोटाइप्स को, हम उनको चैलेंज भी कर रहे हैं। हमने देखा है कंटेंट बहुत ओपनली क्रिएट भी हो रहा है। My question to you as actors and people in the industry, कितना अब तक हो गया है, कितना बाकी है, and what is our responsibility as people who are representing media? What do we need to do more? So I'll start with that way, Mohib, and then Sanam and forward.
कितना हो गया तो ये तो कभी खत्म नहीं होगा, ये तो एक समंदर ऐसा है क्रिएटिविटी का कि ये कभी नामुमकिन है, इम्पॉसिबल। जिस तरह अगर एआई के लिए नामुमकिन होगा, क्रिएशन अनलिमिटेड है, इसी तरह इंसान को भी ऐसे ही वो किया गया है। तो मैं नहीं समझता कि कभी रुकना चाहिए। और पता नहीं, ये बात शायद आ जाए कुछ लोगों को समझ में, अगर आपके अंदर रिदम होती है, म्यूजिक सेंस होता है, म्यूजिक सेंस या सुर एक अलग चीज है, रिदम का होना क्रिएटिव आर्ट्स का जुमरा होता है मेरे हिसाब से। अगर आप रिदम में हैं, बीट सेंस है, तो ये तो रहेगा, क्योंकि इंसान पैदा होता है उस टेम्पो के साथ, हार्ट बीट की एक टेम्पो होती है, तो क्रिएटिविटी तो रहेगी। रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की जो सिचुएशन है वो बहुत गड़बड़ है, क्योंकि आई थिंक कि अब आज के दौर में थोड़ी तरबियत कम हो गई है। हम जरूर अच्छे स्कूलों में भेज रहे होंगे बच्चों को, लेकिन मुझे लगता है, मेरा हम्बल ओपिनियन है कि शायद तरबियत थोड़ी सी कंफ्यूज होती जा रही है, और टैबलेट्स पे बच्चे ज्यादा हैं इस वक्त। पता नहीं, आई डोंट नो कि क्या कहाँ जा रहा है।
I think it's a very individualistic approach. आप स्टार बनने निकले थे, आप एक्टर बनने निकले थे, आप सोशल एक्टिविस्ट बनने निकले थे। मैं एक्टर बनने निकली थी, पर देन मुझे सोशल वर्क भी बहुत करना था, but 2-3 ड्रामों के बाद I realized the impact that our dramas have on society, on young girls. So then I was like, okay, I can do social work through my work. So then that's why मैंने बहुत कम काम किया. I've tried to pick projects that had a message, because हमारी आवाम, they don't travel, they don't read too much, they're very minimally exposed. The only exposure that we have is television. And so what you show them is what they believe, is what they learn from, is what they relate to. So it's how you tell a story that can impact people. So 2-3 ड्रामे हैं जो हम सब ने किए हैं that have really been amazing role models for young women, because they're so stuck in majburi and mushkil and finances and economic masle that their escape is television. Parents don't have the bandwidth to teach their children. I mean, jo basic lessons hain, but big life lessons. There's too many children to raise, too many social responsibilities. So amazingly, मैंने जो ये notice किया था अपने लिए was that TV has such a huge role to play, and it's so powerful. But like a broken record, मैं हमेशा ये बात करती हूँ, and I'm always arguing with my producers and directors. And they're like, we're not Mother Teresa's, we're not here to change the world. हम लोग अपना काम कर रहे हैं, हमारा business है entertainment. तो हम entertainment provide करते हैं. There's 1 or 2 channels that once a year will always give you a message-based drama. Hum TV, I'd like to, call them out for that, because they've really made an effort to do that. But every year they'll do one that really has an impact and a social cause message that they take. So I feel that we have a huge responsibility. I can't keep adding gandh to gandh. Sorry if you're saying it that way. But there must always be a solution in the programs we show, only because we are a third world nation. Education is abysmal. 23 million children are out of school. So kahin to responsibility humne leni hogi. And media is our most powerful tool anywhere in the world, but particularly in Pakistan, aap news dekho. Sare channels are making money. Industries in the media industry makes money off of what they put on TV through ads or whatever. So we have a huge responsibility, but everyone may not see it that way.
Yeah. Thank you. Minnie.
Like Sanam said, yeah, I also came into acting because हमने नहीं सोचा था कि मैं इधर कोई social impact इतना सोचा ही नहीं था उस ज़माने में. लेकिन of course होता है. I remember I did a play for Hasina Moin, जिसमें मैं, मुस्तफ़ा सुल्तान था उनका नाम, वो जो गंदासा पकड़ के पंजाबी फिल्में करते थे, वो मेरे सुल्तान राही, वो मेरे अब्बा उसमें बने थे. मुझ पे तशद्दुद होता था, and दिखाया उस ड्रामे में that I leave my husband, get divorced, and then he doesn't give me my child. तो मैं फिर पढ़ाई करके उस प्ले में लॉयर बन जाती हूँ. So I was randomly a few years later just sitting around at home, and I get a call from खाना काबा. एक खातून ने मुझे उधर से फोन किया और कहा कि उस प्ले में जो आपने कैरेक्टर प्ले किया था, इतना मुझ पे इम्पैक्ट हुआ कि मैंने आई एम फाइटिंग फॉर माई डॉटर्स क्या कहते हैं कस्टडी, and I've gone back to school because उस ड्रामे में आपने किया था. तो मुझे लगा मैं भी कर सकती हूँ, तो मैं आपके लिए दुआएं मांग रही थी. That's when I realized, oh my God, people take that seriously because they have stopped calling me by my name. I'm either Saad ki Ammi or Sara or Minahil, because that's what it is. They actually relate to those stories. We think that they don't have an impact. Even a small comedy has an impact. It doesn't need to be a social, kuch ankahi ya jaise isne 2-3 drama kiye which were about social issues. Even if it's not life, in these plays you're showing life, real people. And हमारा जो craft होता है, हमारी पूरी कोशिश होती है कि उस emotion को हम बाहर लेकर आएं. तो obviously it has an impact. Obviously, later you realize that anything that you put on television is our responsibility. So as an actor, it is my responsibility to pick the right scripts and not go after the rat race and say कि मुझे वो सिर्फ जो मुझे rating देंगे या मैंने दिहाड़ी पूरी करनी है. Because a lot of actors are doing that. This is our bread and butter. That's how we run our families. This is how we make a living. So of course, karna to hai, lekin with responsibility. I think it's the same is the case if you look at news. वो भी आजकल हमारे लिए एंटरटेनमेंट है, मेरी अम्मा के लिए तो वो एंटरटेनमेंट है, 24 घंटे लगा के वो देखती रहती हैं. So what about those people? Anybody on television, be it a politician, be it anyone, has that responsibility.
Yeah.
And as citizens watching those some of the stupid plays, I'm not saying all of them are, हमारी भी responsibility है, सोचने की responsibility है as a nation. जो आप देख रहे हो कि आपका, you know, it's not a individual thing. I think it's a collective thing.
Abhi, jis tarah Jaffa is being portrayed, like they've really taken domestic violence and dealt with it really sensitively. And there's so many women who have written in to me also about कि इनका काम कितना अच्छा and how it's shone light on the fact how toxic a relationship can be, the red flags that you have to notice. So in a way, आप educate भी कर रहे society को and letting them know कि it's not okay to take this kind of abuse. Or, you know, when Vinny was saying she became a lawyer in a role, so many young girls became CSS officers because of Kashaf. So many women fight against domestic abuse at home because of several dramas have shown that it is your right to go back to your Mecca. और मैके वालों ने दरवाजा खुले रखने अपनी बेटी के लिए. जब ड्रामों में दिखाते कि नहीं अब बेटा शादी हो गई, you're really inculcating a really backward mentality कि तुम अब अपने मियाँ की जिम्मेदारी हो और
जनाजा निकलेगा तुम्हारा इस घर से. ये ड्रामे में ये राइटिंग होती है कभी कभार. So yes.
अच्छा, उसका जफा का जिक्र हुआ, सॉरी टू कट यू. वो सबसे जो अच्छी बात है वो ये है कि हमने इस तरह का एक्ट होते हुए पहले दिखाया है और मर्द को तो हम दिखाते हैं ये करते हुए, लेकिन पहली दफा कम से कम मैंने तो पहली दफा देखा है और किया है कि बचपन से उसको कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं. बचपन में हुआ क्या था, माँ बाप का क्या सिचुएशन थी कि बच्चा बड़ा होके ऐसा हुआ जिसको ये रियलाइज ही नहीं हो रहा है कि उसको ये एंगर इश्यूज हैं. तो वही बात है कि अगर बैटमैन का जोकर एक विलन था और जोकर की कहानी में हम चले जाते हैं और उसको पूरा खोल देते हैं तो हमें समझ में आता है कि एक जमाने के एतबार से बुरा इंसान बुरा क्यों है और बुराई क्यों है. तो शायद लोगों को समझने का मौका मिले. तो ये सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज तो हैं, ये तो है, इसकी तो जिम्मेदारी लेनी होगी सबको, जितने भी लोग इन्वॉल्व हैं.
I think what I gather from everything that you guys have said is that पहले मीडिया शायद थोड़ा सरफेस लेवल अफोर्ड कर सकता था होना without going so much deeper into, as Mohib said, going deeper into problems and societal issues, because now we have a very informed audience that challenges back, audience that asks questions. वो क्रिटिक भी करते हैं, जो उनको काम अच्छा नहीं लगता, जो उनको कॉन्सेप्ट अच्छा नहीं लगता, वो उसकी बुराई भी करते हैं. So it's becoming even more important for actors, and I would say writers, script writers, producers, directors, to add more depth to what they're doing. So not just show domestic violence, but also show why domestic violence was created in the first place, or how it occurred to the person, and how can we also solve those problems so that people can actually take a lesson from it going forward. Right?
बाकी मर्दों के लिए तो ड्रामा न्यूज पे चलता ही है.
वही तो कह रही है, सबसे बड़ा ड्रामा तो वही है.
Exactly.
माशाल्लाह से 50 से ज्यादा हमारे यहाँ न्यूज चैनल है, 50+ आई थिंक लास्ट टाइम. सो ठीक है, न्यूज जरूर सुने, लेकिन अच्छी कहानियों पे भी ध्यान होना चाहिए.
So again, इसी पॉइंट को लेके हमारे बहुत सारे इंडस्ट्री के अंदर कोई भी काम हम करने जाते हैं, कोई प्रोडक्ट बनाने जाते हैं, कुछ भी करने जाते हैं, there's a lot of research that goes into making that product, right? There's a lot of data that you have available, जिसके बेसिस के ऊपर आप कहते हो आपकी ऑडियंस कैसी होगी, जिसको आपने केटर करना है, आपने मार्केट कहाँ करना है, एक्सेट्रा. मीडिया के अंदर इस तरह के कोई प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, कोई इस तरह की रिसर्च हो रही है कि हम किसको देख रहे हैं, किसको सिखा रहे हैं, किससे बात कर रहे हैं?
नहीं साहब, बिल्कुल भी नहीं हो रही. आप मॉर्निंग शोज ही देख लें, द इम्पैक्ट दैट इट हैड. पहले रोज औरत सुबह उठ के, जो घरेलू औरत है जिसके पास टीवी होता था, वो खाना पकाते हुए या मसाला टीवी देखती थी या वो फिर मॉर्निंग शो देखती थी. जिन मॉर्निंग शोज में नाच गाना होता था वो आज तक चल रहे हैं, और जिनमें अक्लमंदों वाली बात होती थी या सोशल इश्यूज उठाए जाते थे या रेलेवेंट इश्यूज उठाए जाते थे, वो 6 महीने बाद खत्म हो जाते थे, बिकॉज उनकी रेटिंग नहीं आती थी. कोई बैठ के घर पे, अनफॉर्चुनेटली द ऑडियंस डज नॉट, अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये एक दफा नहीं हुआ, ये 2 दफा नहीं, सालों से होता आ रहा है. I don't know why. The audience is not ready for, maybe because literacy rate कम है, नहीं उनको इतनी अकल वाली बातें ना उनको जाननी है ना पहचाननी है. They don't want to open up.
Maybe they just want mindless entertainment in the morning without any lessons.
That is what I'm saying. That is what it is. They don't realize the impact that has on culture also. कि आप सुबह सुबह सिर्फ यही कर रहे हो और अगर सोशल इश्यूज पे बात करना भी चाह रहे हो तो उसकी रेटिंग नहीं आ रही क्योंकि ऑडियंस नहीं देखना चाह रही. So you see, it's another thing.
And for those of you who don't know, rating नहीं आती तो of course the channel doesn't make money.
It doesn't make money, so वो खत्म हो जाता है और show खत्म हो गया.
Yeah, they have to
remember Savera Nadeem was doing that amazing morning show. She was such a good host and वो अपने ऐसे social issues उठा रहे थे जो मैंने कभी television पे नहीं देखा बात करते हुए.
हिना बयात का भी एक बहुत अच्छा होता था.
Yes. And it was shut down 6 months later because people didn't want to watch that. They wanted to watch the नाच गाना and शादियां होना जो morning shows पे होती हैं.
So what kind of data, just what kind of data while you're also...
हाँ, वो data अब आप बताएं.
What kind of data can you look at?
हमें कैसे ये...
You know, on these panels, I wish we had producers. We're literally mere
producers
mazdoors. As actors, we're mazdoors in this factory. So we have no power. We whine and moan and question, and then if you question too much, sometimes it's like you don't want someone questioning too much. So the producers are really the ones that are the ones to answer those questions. Do they have a research and development, little group of people doing the work? Do they care? Does it matter? How much is it affecting their business? How much is it affecting their conscience?
But none of them are thinking that, no? They're all thinking how I go.
Maybe some of them are, but there's no. I mean, we're actors. We have no answers for that. I mean, I can't answer on behalf of the people who should be doing this.
Yeah, they don't.
कोई बुरी बात नहीं है, बिजनेस है ये और उनको जिस तरह भी इसको लेके चलना है चलें. अब प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम डेटा जिसकी बात कर रहे हैं जिसको हम रेटिंग कहते हैं वो है क्या. पहले तो ये बताए कोई किसी को पता है ये डेटा वसूल कैसे होता है.
What I'm trying to refer to is demographics, socioeconomic classes.
नहीं ये डेटा कहीं से
also
रिसीव तो होता होगा ना.
Again, nobody's going out there and acquiring that data. आप देखना क्या चाहते हैं.
जिसको हम बड़े उससे कहते हैं पड़ोसी मुल्क 10-15 साल पहले उन्होंने एक जंग लड़ी और वो जंग थी केबल के खिलाफ. ये जो केबल हमें 200, 250, 300, 500 हजार रुपए का पैकेज है इंटरनेट के साथ मिलके आता है वो डिजिटली कनेक्टेड नहीं है आप. लिहाजा आपको ये नहीं पता चल सकता कि 8 बजे क्या देखा जा रहा है, 7 बजे क्या देख रहा है, कौन सी एज ग्रुप क्या देख रही है. तो फिर तो अगर कोई नोट्स लेके भेज रहा है तो मैं बड़ी माजरत चाह रहा हूँ उस डेटा से और बड़ी माजरत चाह रहा हूँ इस रेटिंग से कि किस बेसिस पे ये रेटिंग आ रही है. जरा सामने आके पता तो चले. नंबर तो हम बड़े वसूख से डाल देते हैं, बड़े शौक से पोस्टर के ऊपर. आया कहाँ से नंबर? डिजिटली तो हम कनेक्टेड ही नहीं है. एक तार में से 250 तार निकल रहे हैं और पता नहीं पूरी अपार्टमेंट बिल्डिंग को बटे हुए. तो कौन सी रेटिंग की बात हो रही है? तो ये तो मैं बात यहाँ पे वो कर देता हूँ. दूसरी चीज, अगर कनेक्टेड होंगे तो वही पड़ोसी मुल्क की मिसाल की उन्होंने वो डब्बे दे दिए पहले, बॉक्सेस जिसमें कार्ड था, फिर वो डिश टीवी आ गया उनका, वो सारा डेटा वो कलेक्ट करते गए. अब ना वो कहाँ है वो अलग बहस है और वो भी बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं. फिल्में तो बिल्कुल ही तबाह है इस वक्त उनकी भी. लेकिन कहने का मकसद ये है कि कंटेंट को कोई डायरेक्शन देने के लिए आपको जो डेटा है वो ऑथेंटिक होना बहुत जरूरी है. और वो कैसे होगा? जब आप डिजिटली कनेक्टेड होंगे. तो अब वो पता नहीं कब होगा. दूसरी चीज ये कि जरूर दुनिया भर में होता है ये विनी, आपसे कह रहा हूँ कि दुनिया भर में ये मॉर्निंग शो, सोप ऑपरास हमेशा से चल रहे हैं. ठीक है ना, ये माइंडलेस वाली सिचुएशन जो है वो हर जगह है. लेकिन अगर आप 100 चीजें बना रहे हैं, अगर आपके पास डेटा होगा कि जी इतनी % जो ऑडियंस है इनको केटर करने के लिए वो कंटेंट, जब आप ऐसी हवा में खेल रहे होंगे तो फिर आप कहेंगे कि जी ये 100% ऑडियंस ये देखती है. ऐसा मुमकिन नहीं है.
The only time research is used is when an NGO works in collaboration with the production house. So you have Kash Foundation, Roshani Zafar in particular. She will provide you a lot of research and development stats to then do a drama on child abuse or underage marriages or halala or these social topics. Those are the only times that you have some kind of information to then make an entertaining drama out of that with a message.
So very few, basically an NGO who will fund a play on the social issues. जैसे मेरा कुछ अनकही इसकी तरह का, मेरा कुछ अनकही का भी यही था कि it was on social issues. They did it in a different way.
Property
But वो
पे था.
कश्यप फाउंडेशन था जिसने किया, उडारी भी उसी ने किया. तो yes, it's always an NGO, not a private production ने नहीं decide करता. The data doesn't
because
come to them.
their aim is to address that concern or to address that societal issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Mohib, you were saying something?
मैं ये कह रहा था वो सनम ने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि वैसे यहाँ पे ज्यादा बेहतर जवाब जो है वो प्रोड्यूसर्स
दे सकते
Yeah, TV channel heads. Because that's another thing. I mean, most of the TV channels now do their own productions, so they decide what they want to do, and of course they do it on the ratings.
एक चीज और ये भी है कि हम सबको नहीं कह रहा, वैसे मुझे लगता है मेरे अराउंड तो ये रहा है कि रमजान आ रहा है तो ज़कात से पहले बैंक अकाउंट बंद कर दो, इस तरह की भी हमारी वो है. तो और बैंकिंग में हम वो ज्यादा यकीन नहीं रखते, कैश इकोनॉमी में हमारा ज्यादा यकीन है. उसकी भी दीगर वजूहात हैं और बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझते हैं, जो जरा सा भी बिजनेस करते होंगे उनको पता है मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ. तो जब आपका सारा सिस्टम ही इस तरह का है जिसमें मोटिवेशन ही नहीं है कि मैं किसी ऐप पे जाकर, काम की ऐप पे जाकर सब्सक्राइब करूं और उसको माहाना या सालाना कोई पेमेंट दूं और कोई एंटरटेनमेंट नहीं. एंटरटेनमेंट तो फ्री में होती है, हमें तो फ्री में चाहिए एंटरटेनमेंट. दुनिया भर में नहीं होती, हमारे यहाँ फ्री में होती है. हेंस देयर इज नो OTT प्लेटफॉर्म मीनिंग नेटफ्लिक्स, Amazon कभी नहीं बन सकता यहाँ पर. इसलिए नहीं बन सकता क्योंकि हम पे ही नहीं करना चाहते. हमें तो एक आईडी चाहिए 4-5 लोगों के लिए, ऐसा है. और तो अब आप ओरिजिनल कंटेंट बनाने के लिए भी कोई अलग एक ऐप बनाएंगे जो कि इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय नेटफ्लिक्स और Amazon और Hulu और जो भी दुनिया की हम सीरीज देखते हैं खुशी से उनको पे करके. तो हमें तो आदत नहीं है, एज ए नेशन बात कर रहा हूँ, हम 4-5-10% लोगों की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. सो वो किसी को इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. एंटरटेनमेंट फ्री होती है, इसीलिए चैनल्स के तमाम जो भी ये OTT प्लेटफॉर्म वाली सिनेरियो है वो यूट्यूब पे है, ताकि गूगल एड्स फ्री में मिल रहे हैं और गूगल एड्स से वो रेवेन्यू. तो वो प्लेटफॉर्म बनना भी बड़ी दूर की बात है अभी.
बिल्कुल.
And because you've brought up this topic, my other question is related to technology. जिस तरीके से technology evolve हो रही है all over the world, the way you see now global television, and how handy entertainment has become for us. वो platforms का इस्तेमाल जो globally हो रहा है और जो AI का अब हम introduction कर रहे हैं into various things, how do you see Pakistan cinema or Pakistani television evolving? And if you do, how soon? Because of these platforms.
जी भी नहीं.
मैं तो अपना एवटार तैयार करवा रही हूँ कि मुझे एक्टिंग करने के लिए जाना ही ना पड़े. I just send my AI avatar who can do all the things that I can't do and become a,
But did you see
an
how
actor.
fascinating this
मैं
was?
तो इंतजार में बैठी हुई हूँ.
Zara
हाँ,
was
सच
very
में अगर हमारा
impressive.
ये, हाँ?
Yes, Zara was very impressive.
Yes.
The one before that, not
Zara.
too much, but Zara was the one who introduced.
Yes.
Yes.
So आहिस्ता आहिस्ता देखें, if you compare us to the rest of the world, हम जरा थोड़े से पीछे हैं, third world country हैं, जरा थोड़े से पीछे हैं in technology when it comes to even. मैं तो इस दफा एक लाइट ही देखकर उसके लिए कुछ अनकही के लिए इतनी खुश हो गई थी, because it was a different light than the Nathu lights that we have and I worked with forever in my life, with that heat coming onto my face. Now we don't have that. So आहिस्ता आहिस्ता टेक्नोलॉजी पाकिस्तान में भी चेंज हो रही है. बहुत अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स बन रहे हैं. इन्होंने अभी रिसेंटली एक वो जो आपकी अमेजिंग मूवी थी CGI वाली,
Umro yaar.
हाँ, उम्रो यार. So yes, there it has come. They will be able to tell you better because.
But it's slow.
Huh?
But it's slow.
It's slow,
Yeah.
but it's coming. There are kids
Yeah.
that have done really well. Pakistani kids that have done really well. अभी वो ग्लास वर्क के नाम से movie
The Glass
बनी है.
Worker.
वो बच्चा भी बहुत अच्छा
उस्मान
काम
रियाज.
कर रहा है. So there are a lot of kids that have come back now because मेरे ज़माने में you didn't study acting. I think she did. है ना?
A little bit,
जो
yes.
her
BNU.
generation did. But we learned through, work.
Yeah.
किसी ने कहा अच्छा आप एक्टिंग कर लो, अच्छा शौक से कर ली तो आपने उसका सीखा. तो अब ये जो नए बच्चे आ रहे हैं ये ना सिर्फ एक्टिंग, डायरेक्शन, प्रोडक्शन सीख कर आ रहे हैं. सो यस, इन द फ्यूचर आई सी दैट वी आर डूइंग रियली गुड वर्क. होगा इंशाल्लाह ज्यादा, है ना?
Yes.
आई डोंट नो अबाउट टेलीविजन, बट फिल्मों में तो बहुत हो रहा है.
Television may be aa sakta, but yes, Umro AR was a great example. Thanks for reminding me about that one. Uska VFX was originally supposed to be done abroad. But due to finances and change of government and money leaving the country and all that, their hands were tied. And so they said, okay, we'll do it ourselves, because they had the expertise, but they weren't sure. I guess they'd never done it before, so they weren't confident. But the VFX in Umro AR was fantastic. It was really amazing, and it was all done in Islamabad, in-house, young kids. Yeah, so that was, and now the good thing that really came out of Umro AR was we now have a VFX team that can do VFX work for other films, ads, TV stuff, which is then good for our economy also. So yeah, we are moving in the right direction. It's slow, but we're definitely getting there.
Okay. Thank you, Sanam. Mohim, would you like to add something?
अक्सर पूछते हैं लोग, बहुत दिन से फिल्म नहीं आई, बहुत दिन से फिल्में रिलीज नहीं हो रही. फिल्म का बिजनेस इतना ट्रिकी है पाकिस्तान में कि मुझे कोई नंबर ऑफ स्क्रीन्स बता दे. 120 पाकिस्तान भर में 120 स्क्रीन है, जो कि 120 नहीं है, 70 हैं. 70 स्क्रीन्स के ऊपर ये पूरा पाकिस्तान को कैसे आदत डलेगी जाने की. अब अंडा और मुर्गी वाली सिचुएशन हो चुकी है कि पहले क्या होगा. बहुत ज्यादा इस पे मैं हाईलाइट नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन एग्जिबिटर्स का जो परसेंटेज है, एग्जिबिटर यानी कि सिनेमा घर और उसके बाद डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, तो ये कोई बिजनेस प्लान है नहीं फिल्म मेकिंग इन पाकिस्तान. इन सिनेमा के थ्रू उसका रेवेन्यू वो कलेक्ट करना, तो फिल्में कैसे आएंगी. आपको क्या मिलेगा कंपैरिजन में? फौरन जवाब कि इससे बेहतर है मैं प्लॉट लेके डाल दूं, उस पे पैसे ज्यादा बन जाएंगे, या मैं कोई और करेंसी ले लूं. यही करते हैं, कौमी खेल हमारा तो यही है. तो बेहतर तो यही है. तो फिल्मों का सूरत हाल ये है. अब एआई का इसके अंदर आना और सारी चीजों का आना, कैसा चल रहा है इंटरनेट आजकल? मोबाइल पे व्हाट्सएप तो चल नहीं रहा है. तो होपलेसनेस की तरफ मैं निशानदेही नहीं करना चाह रहा हूँ, मैं रियलिटी की बात कर रहा हूँ जो हो रहा है. एक वेबसाइट है जिसके से सारे यंगस्टर्स तो बहुत अच्छी तरह से वाकिफ होंगे, फाइवर नाम है उसका. तो कैसा चल रहा है काम? तो ये मसला है कि अगर कोई ओपन सोर्स कोई एआई क्रिएशन करनी भी हो यहाँ से बैठ के, तो मुश्किल हो रही है. अब बात जैसे उम्रो यार की जो टीम है, ये मैंने एक फिल्म की थी, उसका 20 मिनट का एक सीक्वेंस था जो सीजीआई पूरा यहीं क्रिएट हुआ था. वो फ्रेम बाय फ्रेम मीनाकारी कर करके पूरा वो बनाना होता है, एनिमेट करना होता है. तो वो बहुत मुश्किल काम है. सब कुछ होता है, सारी टेक्नोलॉजी है, सब इम्प्लीमेंट हो रही है, लेकिन ये फिल्में कहाँ बननी है, जानी कहाँ है, इसका बिजनेस प्लान क्या है, वो नहीं पता. एक प्रॉब्लम ये है ना कि आपने इसको लगाना कहाँ है, रिलीज कहाँ करना है, ये इशू हो चुका है. तो वो रेवेन्यू तो नहीं आना है. अच्छा, मजे की बात है, जो फिल्म रिलीज होती है उसके बराबर में एक फिल्म लगी हुई थी जिसका पता नहीं कितने करोड़ों, 100 करोड़,
अरबों रुपए.
आपको पता है उस फिल्म का 250-300 करोड़? हमें तो पता ही नहीं है पैसे क्या होते हैं भाई.
हम 7 करोड़ में 5 करोड़ में फिल्म बनाते हैं, उनके एक दिन का भी वो बजट नहीं होता.
We can't afford the technology also.
अब टेक्नोलॉजी को इम्प्लीमेंट करना है तो कैसे करें? अब टेक्नोलॉजी का लेवल ये हो चुका है कि आप एक ऐड करने के लिए थाईलैंड जाते हैं. इसलिए जाते हैं क्योंकि अब ये अगर ये कैरेक्टर बैठा हुआ है तो जितना बैकग्राउंड है वो सारा इनके साथ मूव करेगा, which is not real. सो एआई से पहले जो है वो रियल इंजन आ चुका था. रियल इंजन पूरा आपके साथ एनिमेट होता है, आपकी एनवायरनमेंट साथ एनिमेट हो रही होती है रियल टाइम. सो बहुत नेक्स्ट लेवल बातें हो चुकी हैं. वो इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए हम अगर वो इन्वेस्ट करेंगे भी तो कहाँ, किस चीज के लिए उसका रिटर्न?
TV can't afford it.
ROI
Cinema
नहीं
is
है
not
कोई,
making
तो
money.
फिर पता नहीं कैसे ये इशू हुआ हुआ है. टेक्नोलॉजी इम्प्लीमेंट हो जाएगी,
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
तो वो रिकवरी कैसे होगी उसकी, ये मसला है.
Thank you for your honest responses. I think we also have Nadeem Beg with us. Nadeem, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
बड़े
hear
गलत
me?
टाइम पे आए हो नदीम, हम प्रोड्यूसर ढूंढ ही रहे थे.
बेग साहब अभी ताजा
Hello everyone, Mohib, Vanida, and Sanam, and whoever is listening.
Hello.
Thank you, Nadeem, for joining us. Very quickly, for everyone who is being introduced to Nadeem for the first time, Nadeem is a director, he's a producer, He started his directional journey with Jawani Phir Nahi Aani. He's done tremendous work in the last couple of years with Punjab Nahi Jaungi. Again, Jawani Phir Nahi Aani 2. Pyare Afzal, Mere Paas Tum Ho, which I'm sure all of you are aware of. He's joining
कैसी
us.
स्माइल्स आई सारों के मुंह पे मेरे पास तुम हो से हैं? देखा, ऐसे ही ड्रामे देखना चाहते हैं आप लोग? देखा? नदीम, खराब कर रहे हो तुम हमारी जनरेशन.
With a successful record in both film and television, he is continuing to change and shape the landscape of Pakistani television. Nadeem, we were discussing a very important topic, और उसमें आपकी ज़रूरत थी हमें, जहाँ पे हम research की बात कर रहे हैं, content बनाते हुए. As a producer, as a director, what is our responsibility to bring in data, to do the right kind of research for our audiences? खास तौर पे जब हम social topics को छेड़ते हैं, तो हमें अपना data और अपने demographics देख के अपनी audiences को cater करना चाहिए या उन social norms को address करना चाहिए. कितना काम इसके ऊपर हो रहा है from the direction production perspective, from the content houses perspective, और आगे हमें क्या करने की ज़रूरत है?
Your question is about content. That how responsible we are when we are making when we are making content for films or for TV or for drama serials, and we see entertaining projects, we see romance tragedies on TV all the time. How we can contribute in the society by being aware of the responsibility that we have. Everyone is a filmmaker now. It is very difficult to bring people to see any kind of content. So मुझे लगता है कि the times that we are living in now are not difficult times. They are very interesting times. That अभी मोहित बात कर रहे थे सिनेमा की और टीवी की, तो ये चैलेंज तो दुनिया भर में है. जब से ये एक फोन जो आपके सामने है, इसके ऊपर इतना कंटेंट आप देख रहे हैं, सो लोग सिनेमा हॉल जाना मुश्किल है उनके लिए. इवन एक टाइम वो भी आएगा जब लोग घर में होंगे और टीवी के ऊपर बैठ के भी कुछ देखना मुश्किल होगा उनके लिए. सो कंटेंट बनाने की जो जिम्मेदारी है वो अब लोगों ने अपने हाथ में ले लिया है. आई थिंक पीपल आर मेकिंग चूजिंग देयर कंटेंट. Yes, we are someone who are professional, like the writers. I think the writing is something that I would hang on to. That is something that we all need to look at. You need to go into new ways of connecting with people. Some interesting stories to craft. जैसे मोहिब अभी बात कर रहे थे कि उनको कुछ ऐसा होना पड़ेगा ताकि वो जो आजकल की जनरेशन है जो अभी सामने बैठी हुई है उनके साथ आप कनेक्ट कर सके. So we are trying our best to communicate with them, to get in touch with them. Content की बात तो बहुत बाद में आती है. We are just trying to them to watch us, to just look at us, by going to the cinema hall or एक चैनल चूज करके उस पे जो ड्रामा चल रहा है वो देख के, and then comes the responsibility that what is it that you're offering them. So these are the challenges we think. Yes, it is difficult, it is important, and we're trying to make it.
Okay, thank you Nadeem. जो मुझे उनकी बात से समझ आया, and correct me if I'm wrong Nadeem, is कि our cinema and our industry has suffered for many years. So पहला कदम तो ये है कि लोगों को राजी करें, लोगों को कि वो आएं और देखें और ओन करें अपने सिनेमा को, अपने इंडस्ट्री को, जो कि अभी हम यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं शायद कि अब हमारी ऑडियंस एक्सेप्ट करने लगी है. And then comes the larger picture, the bigger picture, giving back to the industry. If I can ask all of you because Nadeem ने भी बोला, everybody is a director. मोहिब ने भी बोला, सनम ने भी बोला, everybody said it, कि आज हर बंदा content create कर रहा है. क्या मैसेज आप लोग देना चाहेंगे उन लोगों को जो आज कंटेंट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं? What are they doing right? So let's start with the positives. And what can they do better? Nadeem, we can start from you.
जी, मेरा ख्याल है कि everyone who's creating content, they are doing a great job. चाहे वो आप टिकटॉक पे बना रहे हो, चाहे वो आप एक थिएट्रिकल रिलीज बना रहे हैं, चाहे वो आप ड्रामे में कुछ कर रहे हैं. आई थिंक बी एम्पैथेटिक, बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल, डोंट हर्ट एनीवन, मेक एनीथिंग यू वांट टू मेक, टेल एनीथिंग दैट यू वांट टू टेल.
Thank you, Nadeem. Mohib, you had spoken about conditioning and tarbiyat. If you can talk more about that, especially when
अभी जो कंटेंट बन रहा है, जो ऑनलाइन है, इट्स अमेजिंग. मतलब उसमें बहुत कुछ वाहियात भी है, लेकिन बहुत कुछ अच्छा भी है. मैंने अभी एक 3 मिनट शॉर्ट फिल्म टाइप देखी जो स्कर्दू डेजर्ट में किसी ने बनाई है. अनबिलीवेबल, ब्यूटीफुली शॉट, और बहुत, और आई डोंट नो कौन, किसने, कब शूट हुई, वो कहाँ हुई. और क्या खूबसूरत, बहुत काम हो रहा है इस तरह का जो अच्छा है. हम एडिक्टेड भी हो चुके हैं रील्स के. साइंटिफिकली हमारी न्यूरोलॉजी बिल्कुल चेंज होती जा रही है, उसका भी हमें ख्याल रखना है. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी होगी बहुत सारी चीज़ों की. और जिस तरह नदीम ने कहा कि सिनेमा घर जाने का कल्चर बनना, हमें मार्केटिंग से आकर ये बात पता चलना, चले वर्ड ऑफ माउथ भी पता चल जाए, एक दूसरे से पूछ भी लिया कि भाई कैसी है, पैसे खर्च करने के नहीं होगा. इट्स एक्सपेंसिव. एक फैमिली के लिए सिनेमा जाना महंगा भी बहुत है. तो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के साथ, जहाँ कंटेंट क्रिएटर तो सब हो गए हैं, अपना जो पहला काम था वो याद रखें. यानी कि फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप की लॉन्ड्री सर्विस है, तो आपको कंटेंट उसके लिए क्रिएट करना है, इंटरेस्टिंग तरीके से आपको उनको इनवाइट करना है, लेकिन जो आपकी लॉन्ड्री जो काम था उसको मत भूलिए. तो उसका बैलेंस रख के अगर करेंगे तो आई थिंक सही डायरेक्शन में रहेंगे.
Thank you.
I don't think it's just the responsibility of the content creators. It's the responsibility of the consumers also. We can't just keep blaming. मतलब आप ही के लिए बना रहे हैं ना, तो मतलब हम कौन है? हमने तो ठेका नहीं लिया हुआ आपको सिखाने का और एंटरटेन करने का. आप भी चूज करते हैं कि आप क्या देखना चाहते हैं. So it is your responsibility as a consumer and as a viewer, what you choose to watch, what you choose to let your children watch, what you choose to let your family watch, because there's all kinds of people. There's all kinds of people who like. I may not like what most people like. Most people may not like what I like. So we can't cater to everyone. And those people who have become content creators, वो अपना पेट भरने के लिए कर रहे हैं. उनकी responsibility नहीं है माशरे को सिखाना, because they're young kids. And social media has really enabled a lot of young people and given them their rosy roti, and you know
नहीं, वो बात ठीक है, लेकिन पेट भरने के लिए आप किसी को रिडिक्यूल तो नहीं कर सकते.
नहीं, ridicule नहीं, but that's your responsibility also, sure. But I mean, we know that. That's the obvious.
मतलब I to disagree कि आपको responsible तो होना होगा.
No, of course. But young children who
showcase कर रहे हैं ना अपना
But
काम.
young kids who are making a lot of the content creators, we're not talking about TV and film now.
मैं भी की बात कर रहा हूँ.
Young kids.
हाँ.
Yeah, they live and learn. They live and learn.
आपके पास टिकटॉक है?
नहीं.
मेरे पास है.
तो
मुझे पता है मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ.
Enough said.
Well, it's my choice to not be exposed to that kind of stuff that's on TikTok. So that's what I'm talking about. The responsibility. We know that the responsibilities of the creators, but the responsibility should also lie with the viewers, the consumers. When we go back to talking about ratings and everything, you can't just blame producers, directors, content creators. It is you that consumes it, therefore they make it.
And also, to your point, Sanam, when somebody is doing something good, so for example, I can make this arts and craft well, and I think I can showcase it on my Instagram page and make it go viral, right? I do not automatically become responsible for conditioning the society through that. So हो सकता है during my content मैंने कुछ ऐसा कह दिया जो शायद उतना रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं हो.
मैं आपको एग्जांपल दे देता हूँ. मेरा कपड़े का बिजनेस है और मेरे पास वो रखे हुए हैं कपड़े के वो जो थान होते हैं. एक बहुत वायरल वीडियो है जिसमें एक स्ट्रेचर पे एक मरीज को ले जाया जा रहा है और वो गिरता है और वो रोल होता है और यहाँ से कपड़े का थान रोल होता है. नहीं देखा क्या आप लोगों ने? तो ये कोई जोक तो नहीं है. ये मतलब ये वायरल हो रही चीजें. तो मैं इसकी बात कर रहा हूँ कि आपने एक एक्सीडेंट को जोक बना दिया है. आप जरूर वो करें, लेकिन मजा नहीं आया दोस्त.
No, but that's like saying
लोग देख रहे हैं.
हाँ,
लोग
people
देख
are
रहे हैं.
watching everything.
Yeah, लोग देख रहे हैं. Therefore, I think what
उनकी
someone
बात
is
भी
trying to
ठीक है
say
कि अब
also.
आप क्या देखना चाह रहे हैं भाई, उस पे
Exactly.
व्यूज आएंगे तो फिर व्यूज तो आएंगे भाई, आपको आईबॉल चाहिए अपनी प्रोडक्ट पे.
तो फिर आप ऐसी ही हरकत करते हो कि कायदे आजम के मजार पे जाके या जो
जी.
करते थे वो करते हैं. सो दैट इज इट इज योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी.
दोनों तरफ,
उस
दोनों
तरह
तरफ.
कंटेंट क्रिएटर की भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, लेकिन वो नहीं मानता, उसको लाइक्स चाहिए. अब एवरीथिंग इज अबाउट लाइक्स होंगी. अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे काम में भी हो गया कि अगर मेरे पास इंस्टाग्राम फॉलोअर्स उतने नहीं है तो शायद मुझे वो रोल ना मिले. or maybe somebody will not know who I am because मेरे Instagram पे मैं वो content creator नहीं हूँ, मैं नहीं डाल सकती अब क्या मैं क्या खा रही हूँ क्या पी रही हूँ. और इस बात पे भी मुझ पे तनकीद हुई जब मैंने कहा कि नहीं मैं सोशल मीडिया पे नहीं हूँ. तो उन्होंने कहा क्यों नहीं है आपको होना चाहिए, आप क्यों नहीं करती, बाकियों को आप तनकीद करती हैं, आप खुद करें. So yes, because I felt that I won't be able to make that kind of content कि मेरे ऑडियंस या मेरे कंज्यूमर जो देख रहा है उसको कोई फायदा मिले तो मैं फिर डालती ही नहीं हूँ कि who cares कि you know मेरी
मैं क्या कर रही हूँ.
I know 100वीं तस्वीर है मेरी from another angle that I've taken all day long. So I do feel कि content creators की भी responsibility है, because if you have millions of followers, the message that you're putting across is very important.
I think what we can safely say is as you grow, you need to become
Yes.
more responsible.
Yes.
You need to start learning more about your duty as a content creator. मुझे क्या बोलना चाहिए,
As a
क्या नहीं
citizen,
बोलना
बिल्कुल
चाहिए.
as a citizen कि आपका काम जो भी वो काम है, टेलीविजन पे नहीं है तो अब तो इंस्टा पे है या टिकटॉक पे है, वो लोग देख रहे हैं, वो बच्चे देख रहे हैं, वो हर चीज मानते हैं. You know, so yes, it is the responsibility.
And I would also like to add here, I mean, आप सबने as a content, like on this side of the screen बात की है. As a consumer who's consuming everything, what I've learned is kabhi kabar just by scrolling through the content, like the comments of a certain video, जैसे आपने बोला, I might not be instantly thinking something bad about that video, लेकिन नीचे perspective मिलेगा आपको
जी.
दोनों तरफ से. You'll get audience saying positive, you'll see audience negating it or critiquing
Right.
it, and that's where you form your own opinion कि मुझे कौन सा समझ आ रहा है.
Right.
You know?
देखो वो आसान काम करना होता है, बिकॉज कंटेंट में जब आप कमेंट्स डाल रहे हैं, मैंने वो बहुत दफा कमेंट्स देखे हैं, और जब आप मैं उनके प्रोफाइल पे भी गई, 0 posts following all the celebrities just to go and say things that are
Yeah.
derogatory और बुरी बात, वो भी मैं नहीं इतना मानती, बिकॉज इट्स गिवन किसी को आवाज मिल गई है, शक्ल उनको जरूरी नहीं है तो वो तो कुछ भी कह सकते हैं.
I'm not talking about trolls. I'm talking about
ये
mainly
trolls नहीं,
वो
ये
लोग.
हमें क्या पता है कि वो कौन ट्रोल्स हैं. आप पढ़ रहे होते हो, जब फॉर एग्जांपल अगर इन्हीं के जब मैंने फिल्म के रिव्यूज पढ़े थे तो नीचे मैं कमेंट्स पढ़ रही थी, सो आई कुड टेल कि ये some of them are not real.
Yeah.
So even as a consumer या आप जो लिख रहे हैं या आप कमेंट जो डाल रहे हैं, वो भी सोच समझ के नहीं डलता. तो मैं कह रही हूँ उनकी भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं होती.
ये भी टेक्नोलॉजी है.
हाँ, वो लाइक्स के लिए या किसी चीज के लिए वो ऐसी बात कर देंगे that they may not even believe in, but you're reading and you're actually believing that.
Yeah.
Because आपको लग रहा है कि I don't know, सुहेल 1 2 3 4 ने मुझे ये कह दिया. हाय,
खास तौर पे
नहीं,
अब वो सुहेल 1 2 3 4 कौन था और
नहीं,
कहाँ
नहीं,
था,
नहीं, नहीं,
लेकिन
विनी,
उसने मुझे वो करा दिया.
विनी द बेस्ट वन इज पापा की परी.
हाँ, बिल्कुल ऐसे. So
खास तौर पे I have another question related to this. How एक तो जनरेशन हमारी और हमारे से नीचे वाली है, एक वो जनरेशन है जो हमारी अम्मियों वाली है, जो लिटरली टू द टी फॉलो एवरीथिंग दैट इज सेड.
जी मैं जो अपनी
ये अगर इस पे आ गया है तो ये ऑथेंटिक है और ये पत्थर पे लकीर है. उनको भी हमें ट्रेन करना है कि नहीं, so we're in the middle trying to train our mums not to mama इसको नहीं फॉलो करें, हर चीज फॉरवर्ड मत कर दिया करें, and also telling our children not to go to all platforms and start consuming also. I think we as the middle generation are quite
I mean, the responsibility of WhatsApp auntie groups, WhatsApp uncles and aunties particularly, circulating false news,
Yes.
misinformation, that's the responsibility of ours,
of everyone.
That.
That's what I'm saying, of everyone. बड़ा जरूरी है. जैसे मेरी अम्मा रोज वीलॉग्स देखती हैं, वो उन्होंने टीवी देखना छोड़ दिया, बस यूट्यूब पे वो वीलॉग्स देखती हैं, जितने पॉलिटिकल अब उनको बार-बार कहती हूँ, I mean media, don't listen to everything that they're saying. It's not true.
And then buy
It's
products,
okay.
buy products, shampoo and God knows what that they're buying because of that.
तो conscious, so basically the point is कि हर इंसान जो कुछ भी कंज्यूम कर रहा है, मैं कहती हूँ ना सिर्फ मीडिया टीवी पे आप क्या देख रहे हो, आपकी सोचे क्या है, आप खाना क्या कर रहे हो, इट शुड बी कॉन्शियसली डन, सोच समझ के करें, बस सोचे बगैर ना करें. I mean that is the thing, what you're feeding yourself, what you're feeding your mind, what you're feeding your soul, what you're feeding your body. हम सोचे समझे करते हैं, स्क्रॉल भी ऐसे सोचे बगैर करे जा रहे हैं और वो एल्गोरिदम फिर आपको वो पकड़ लेता है और वो कहता है कि अच्छा इसने तो I don't know.
Yeah, I've stopped watching
खाने
TV.
के 4 चीजें देख ली हैं.
I've stopped watching TV. All we're doing is just scrolling reels all day. I have an important question, and then we'll move to questions on the prompter here. आप audience में देख रहे हैं, we have the younger generation sitting. So now directly talk to the younger generation.
हाँ,
My
सबसे
own
young generation तो ये बैठा हुआ है.
My own kids are sitting right
Every
here.
day he's getting younger. I need to find out what he's doing, what he's consuming.
So
Qasim?
talk to them and tell them, what message do you have? Because aajkal they are consumed by social media. All you see is them on their phones, taking out a minute to eat food, taking out a minute to go to school, taking out a minute for tuitions, and they're back on their digital platforms. I know there is a responsibility on parents, but what kind of responsibility should these children also have? And what kind of awareness do you want them to have?
नहीं हो सकता. मेरी 2 बेटियां हैं, मैं बड़ी समझाने की कोशिश करती हूँ. I'm sorry, मुझे नहीं आता ये काम करना. मुझे सिर्फ काम करके दिखाना आता है. But इन बच्चों का ब्रेन ही वायर्ड है डिफरेंटली. सो बच्चों, ये बैठी हुई हैं इधर, इनको भी बड़े लेक्चर्स मिले हुए हैं. हाँ, बड़ा मुश्किल है आप लोगों को समझाना, बिकॉज इनका न्यूरल पाथवेज नेटवर्क बिल्कुल डिफरेंट किस्म का वो हुआ हुआ है, हमारी तरह नहीं हुआ हुआ. दिस इज द इंस्टा जनरेशन. आई डोंट नो, वी नीड टू टेक लेसन्स ऑन. मैं तो सोच रही हूँ अपनी थेरेपी कराना शुरू कर दूं इनको डील करने के लिए. यू नो हाउ टू डील विद दीस चिल्ड्रन ऑफ द न्यू जनरेशन. वी डिडंट नो दैट. आई मीन आप पेरेंट्स कहते हैं चुप, कह दिया तो चुप हो जाओ. इनसे तो आप कह नहीं सकते, बिकॉज नाउ दे हैव द होल वर्ल्ड इन देयर हैंड एंड दे कैन गेट. कुछ भी पता करना है, अच्छा अभी पता करके आपको बता देते हैं. इट्स द अदर वे अराउंड. तो सवाल जरा अपना चेंज करो. उनसे कहो कि हमें सिखाएं भाई, हम आपसे कैसे बातें करें. How do we communicate with you? You tell us. And I swear, the children, we should listen to them. अल्लाह ने हम हर एक को क्रिएटिव बनाया हुआ है, और उनकी जो अक्लें हैं ना, we are in, by the time we get older, इतनी ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंसेस आ जाते हैं कि हमारी वो सोचें चेंज हो जाती हैं. लेकिन बच्चों की जो है ना, वो we have to tap into that. कि how do we learn from them instead of teaching them चीजें जो हमने धक्के खा के सीखी हैं और फिर भी वो फायदा नहीं हुआ, तो उनसे सीखें.
So as a parent, Vinny can speak better, but adding to what Vinny's saying, yes, definitely listen to children. Their neural pathways have evolved differently. But children also learn from what monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. If you're on the phone, they're going to be on the phone. If you're too busy doing your own thing, they've got all the time to be free and do their own thing. We learned from our parents because our parents weren't busy on the phone. They were busy with us. So if we're busy with our children, then they want so much free time. Yeah. And children or young people out there, you will learn this later, but it's better to learn this now, is self-confidence. It does not matter what anyone thinks of you. What does matter is what your parents think of you, what your best friend only thinks of you, what your siblings think of you, and what you think of yourself. There's maybe like 5 people on that list. No one matters. Your happiness is in your own hands. You cannot get it from anywhere else. Only you have the power. Remember to be kind. Be the one that is the savior of the bullies. Be the one that is confident to go without makeup somewhere or didn't get time to dress up and go to a party. Enjoy the moment. Don't care about what you're wearing and who thinks what you are, because I swear to God, when you're older, you'll be like, what was I doing? You have your whole life to be a grown-up. Enjoy being young. Enjoy being silly. Enjoy not getting dressed in makeup. Spend time in nature. Take up a sport. You must play a sport, an instrument. and teach the adults who have missed out on that night, because your adults did live that life, but they've also gotten into this Insta life and this like technological life. So you kids remind your parents, Priya, come on, let's go to the beach, let's go to the mountains, let's do some nature activities, go spend time in charities, give your time to charity, go to SOS Village, go give your time to underprivileged kids. These are all really nourishing for your soul, and you will be so happy that you did this, because at the end, peace and happiness is all you want. So find that within yourself and never care about what anyone thinks of you. Be kind, be honest, and have fun.
इनके बच्चे नहीं हैं, इसलिए इन्होंने ये बात बोली है. बड़ा मुश्किल काम है, तो मैं कहूँगी बच्चों के लिए नहीं है मैसेज, ये माओं के लिए है. एक्चुअली ये पेरेंट्स के लिए है कि आपने अपने बच्चों को ये सिखाना है. हम ये नहीं सिखाते अनफॉर्चुनेटली, लेकिन जो पहले मोहिब ने बात की थी तरबियत, ये उस तरबियत में आती है कि आप अपने बच्चों को, जैसे कि आजकल माओं के पास वाकई नहीं टाइम होता. They would rather be going to those coffee parties or whatever they're doing. तो वो फिर बच्चों को वो गाइड नहीं कर सकती.
They're working.
You have most
of the women working now.
Yeah. How do you control this? आज मैं इधर आई हूँ, मैं अपनी बेटी को कह रही हूँ नहीं लैपटॉप बंद करें, आपने नहीं बंद करें, आप ये नहीं कर सकती. You know, so yes, it is difficult, but I think the parents have to be more conscious in parenting and actually parent when it comes to our newer generations, because we have lost the ability to parent. Like she said, हमारे माओं के पास टाइम था, हमारे पास अनफॉर्चुनेटली टाइम नहीं है उतना माओं के पास जितना पहले होता था. सो अपनी भी पेरेंटिंग करें और फिर अपने बच्चों की भी करें.
Thank you. Nadeem, would you like to give a message to the younger generation?
मैं कोई preacher, teacher मैसेज
I was very engaged with parenting के ऊपर जो था lecture Vinisa. We all are going through the same thing, by the way. But I would like to say that you know, there is one thing that if you love music, you're a good listener, you would like to sing. If you love to read, and then you would like to write at some point. If you love looking at the paintings, you would like to paint one day. I think read, and you know, there is trash, there is art. Rise above and learn some art form, and try doing that. And I think for new filmmakers, reading is very, very important. You read something, you something inspires you, some emotion. We talk about technologies, we talk about social media. We need to think about the stories, the emotions that we want to, you know, if you were bullied once, tell a story about how to handle that situation, how to tell a story in your own way. So I think read, experience things, and learn the craft. That is the best way to go about it.
Thank you, Nadeem. मोहिब, सॉरी.
अभी बेग साहब आपको देख के याद आया कि मेरे टीचर्स में से ही हैं, उस्ताद हैं मेरे भाई. तो मुझे बहुत सारी चीज़ों में इन्होंने एक्सप्रेशंस का, बहुत सारी चीज़ों का सिखाया हुआ है. तो बिल्कुल आपके लिए एक मेंटोर होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. आप किसी से इंस्पायर हो, और अच्छी इंस्पिरेशन का फैसला आप पर है. और हमारा इस प्लैनेट पे कोई ना कोई पर्पस ज़रूर होगा. उस पर्पस को ढूंढने की कोशिश करें जिससे आपको खुशी मिलती है, वही आपका पर्पस होता है. तो बस उसी से जुड़े रहें. कोई भी ऐसा काम जिसमें आप खुश ना हो रहे हो, उससे सिर्फ आपको बाद में शायद फ्रस्ट्रेशन ही होगी. और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के साथ अच्छे रास्ते को चुनेंगे तो आपके लिए अच्छा होगा. बुरा रास्ता चुनेंगे तो आखिर में एक मकाफाते अमल या कारमा एक चीज होती है, वो आपके साथ भी हो जाएगी. तो बी माइंडफुल एंड बी केयरफुल व्हाट यू विश फॉर.
Thank you. I think we have freshly run out of time. I want to first of all appreciate how this session was on time, started on time and ended on time. Thank you so much for everyone who's done that. We don't do that in Pakistan. I also want to thank the audience for being patient and for participating and for engaging. Our panelists, Nadeem, Mohib, Sanam, Vinny, and our sponsors, UBL and all our other sponsors. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And I think we need a photograph now, right? There's a photograph? Okay, great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone.
great pleasure to welcome you to the 17th edition of SOT events, Guardians Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI. We would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, UBL, ABL, My Bagpack, MK Books, Franklin Covey, and Key Fayette Publishers for their generous support. A special thanks to our lead sponsor, UBL, whose contribution has made SOT 17 possible and impactful. My name is Zara, and I'm an AI announcer for SOT events. Please take a moment to note these important housekeeping points. Please ensure your cell phones are silent. In case of an emergency, please proceed to your nearest exit point. Always stay calm and follow directions. Please use the SOT app to scan the QR code for session feedback. Share your thoughts on social media using the hashtags Guardians of the Future and SOT 2024. If you need assistance, our ushers are here to help. The panel discussion will last for about 45 minutes, followed by 15 minutes for Q&A. To share questions, please either use the index cards provided by the ushers or the mobile app. We are delighted to have you with us today for a panel discussion, which promises to be an insightful and engaging conversation. This panel will explore AI and the evolution of high-stakes testing, bringing together thought leaders, experts, and practitioners to share their unique perspectives and engage in a dialogue that inspires action and innovation. It is now my pleasure to introduce our esteemed moderator for this session, Dr. Suhail Naqvi. Dr. Naqvi is a leading educationist with over 35 years of experience across academia, industry, and government, known for his transformative impact on education reform and institutional development. Currently CEO of Knowledge Streams Private Limited, he focuses on preparing talent for the digital economy and bridging academia with industry. He previously served as founding rector of the University of Central Asia, vice chancellor of LUMS, and executive director of Pakistan's Higher Education Commission, where he drove advancements in research, university rankings, and sector growth. Holder of 3 US patents in semiconductor metrology, Dr. Naqvi earned his PhD from Purdue University and has received multiple prestigious awards for his contributions to higher education. Thank you once again for joining us. I now request the moderator of the session, Dr. Suhail Naqvi, to join us on stage.
Okay. So clearly AI is with us to stay, and the job of the announcer is no more. Actually, while preparing for this session here, I came to the conclusion actually the job of the moderator and the panelists is no more, but nevertheless we will power ahead. We have a brilliant panel here and hope to keep you engaged throughout here. The first panelist that I'd like to invite is Catherine Booth, who is the Director, Pearson School's Qualifications. Catherine read Natural Sciences at the University of Cambridge in the UK and is a fellow scientist, so that's good. She has spent 15 years with Pearson, initially in the London head office, where she cut her assessment teeth designing GCSE and A-level science qualifications for UK schools. So in part, she is responsible for your torture. Since 2018, she has been based in Pearson's Dubai office and has responsibility for Pearson's qualifications and courseware in schools across the Middle East, Africa, Pakistan, and Turkey. So welcome, Catherine. Our second panelist will be joining us online, and that is Ismail Sabri. He has over 17 years of experience in education and education technology. His expertise spans leadership roles in EdTech, where he played a crucial role in developing the award-winning K-12 digital products for various subjects and leading online professional development programs for teachers in different countries. Notably, Ismail and his team were honored with 2 Coady Awards in 2022 for the best mathematics and science digital products. In his current capacity as Senior Education Advisor at Cambridge University Press and Assessment, Ismail oversees business development operations in the MENA and Pakistan region. He collaborates closely with ministries of education and education policymakers, making strategic decisions on the products required to facilitate learning and to support the reform plans of education systems. Ismail holds a master's in math and statistics from the American University of Sharjah, along with 2 diplomas in special education from Alexandria University. His education journey aligns with his passion for education and technology, contributing significantly to the Arab educational community. His impactful work focuses on supporting teachers, students, and parents. So welcome, Ismail, and he'll be online here. Ismail, are you there?
I am. Thank you.
Hopefully technology catches up here. Our third panelist is Emily Bell, has over 20 years of experience in education, having worked as an English teacher, teacher trainer, materials writer, academic manager, and university lecturer. In 2005, she was involved in a project to develop inclusive teaching materials and has been an advocate ever since. No child left behind. As school's relationship manager for Hodder Education, she supports educators worldwide to develop their teaching practices. Welcome, Emily. And finally, we have Ian Riley, is currently head of schools of TNS Beacon House, DHA in Lahore, and is celebrating his 5th year in Pakistan, having spent time in Shanghai as head and coordinator, making the shift to Pakistan. He has also taught in Turkey, Egypt, and of course his home country, Scotland, but you would never recognize it when he speaks. Ian holds the prestigious NPQH National Qualification for Headship from the UK Department of Education, Masters in Educational Leadership, PGCE in Education, and a Bachelor's in English and History. He is a doctoral candidate for educational leadership currently through the University of Glasgow. Ian is also a chair, evaluation program, and workshop leader for the International Baccalaureate, known as IB, globally. An accreditation team leader for both CIS, the Council of International Schools, and the Middle States Association, and is currently the vice chair of IB Pakistan Association. Welcome, Ian. So we have a discussion that is focused on the transformative potential of AI in high-stakes testing. But I think we're going to generalize it a little bit and talk about the lesser higher stakes testing, because any test that a child takes is pretty much high stakes for that kid over there. And we're going to be exploring how AI can help us create more adaptive, student-centered approach while addressing the ethical dilemmas and technical hurdles involved. And the conversation seeks to uncover how AI can be harnessed to enhance fairness and accuracy, ultimately aiming to redefine how we evaluate student success. And also in this panel, I had forgotten to mention before, but we can't really ignore, there is AI itself. So we have our AI bot, and let's start with the AI bot. Hi, I would like to ask you about the transformative role of AI in educational assessment. What are your thoughts on that? Hi, I'd like to talk to you about the transformative potential of AI in educational assessment. What are your thoughts on that? Aha. Yeah, I know. Okay, let me try a third time. I'd like to ask you about the transformative potential of AI in educational assessment. What are your thoughts on that?
AI has incredible potential. It can tailor assessments to individual learning styles, provide real-time feedback, and analyze data for better insights. This can lead to more effective learning and improved outcomes for students.
Okay, so let me start with Catherine here and talk to her about adaptive learning and assessment, and in what ways can AI help redefine essentially testing to focus on individual growth? What are the opportunities here?
Yeah, thanks, Sahel. So I think we are very used to a one-size-fits-all assessment system. So, I'm very familiar with the British system, and we do 2 years of international GCSE, and then we do our examinations, and then we do 2 years of A-level, and then we do our examinations. And I think it's pretty fair to say that that isn't particularly learner-centric. It isn't something that that fits all learners. And I think we're looking at a future whereby we can move using AI to a type of assessment at the end of course, or indeed in the middle of the course, but specifically at the end of the course, whereby you can test students when they're ready. So you can take different groups of students, perhaps move them on different pathways. You test them when they're ready. And imagine a world where you have an examination whereby the student sits down at the computer screen and they're given a question. And based on the answer to that question, then it gives them a personalized next question, and then a personalized next question. And it automatically adjusts to the standard of the student. If you have a situation where the student answers a question incorrectly and it looks like there's a misconception there, then perhaps the AI can ask another question on the same topic to check that misconception and have they, give them a second chance. Is that a real misconception, or have they just got the answer a little bit off beam? And so I think what the AI can do is kind of like really guide the student through and really have a look at what they've learned. And I think that's really powerful. And I think it's got kind of wide-ranging potential, because no longer will we have 2 years of curriculum and then assessment. Perhaps, one day in January, your students might be ready. So that student can go in for whatever assessment they need to go in for. And maybe the next month, then some other students are a bit more ready. And they can go in. And so it threatens to, and we are talking a few years in the future, I don't think this is going to be, in 2 or 3 years, but a few years into the future, then you could see a world where we rip up the idea of that kind of September to July school year.
Okay, so we have perhaps some students in the audience. Can you sort of wave your hands and let's see, are you there? How many students out there? Okay, how many of you like this idea of adaptive testing and sort of testing when you are ready? Okay. There are some, and the others perhaps unsure. Okay, good. So let me go to Ismail over here and talk to him a little further about adaptivity and personalization, and ask him, can AI-based adaptive testing truly capture a student's potential, especially for students with different learning paces or special needs? Ismail, are you there?
Yes, I am. I hope you can hear me and see me.
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you. Okay,
thank you. First of all, Dr. Sahil, good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Dubai. Apologies, I was not able to attend physically. But I would like to start by thanking the event organizers for bringing us all together to this important conversation. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be here with you today. Thanks to the technology, and I hope my connection doesn't go bad. I would also like to thank Dr. Suhail for moderating this session and my fellow panelists, in addition to everyone in the audience for joining us today. And I would like to say hi to my colleagues from our Cambridge office in Pakistan, our country director, Ozma Youssef, and her team. So this is actually a very important question. And I do believe that there is a potential for customization. So there is no doubt that AI's ability to adjust difficulty and pacing allows it to meet students where they are actually. And here we're talking about differentiation. So if you ask many teachers in schools, like what is the most important challenge, some of them will probably say it's a differentiation. So we have students at different levels, and I believe AI testing here could resolve this issue. However, for some students who learn at different paces or have specific learning needs, this adaptability can create some challenges. So I'm here talking specifically about those students who have deep learning challenges or special needs. So capturing the potential of students with specific learning disabilities or cognitive needs can be difficult. And this is because mainly all the AI models are often based on typical learning patterns. And in this case, I think accessibility is really important. So while developing those AI tools, those AI amazing tools, I think if it is developed with accessibility in mind, our AI adaptive testing could identify unique learning needs early on. And this would allow for tailored interventions and resources. It requires definitely a commitment to inclusive data and frequent adjustments to ensure that all of those adaptive tests capture diverse learning profiles accurately. So to summarize, Dr. Suhail, I would say there is a potential for customization. Definitely those kind of AI-based adaptive testing would help the majority of the students when it comes to differentiation and those students who are actually learning independently. But for some other students who have like special needs or like have some cognitive learning difficulties, I would say it would be difficult for them, but with accessibility in mind, I think this could be resolved. So thank you. Back to you, Dr. Suhail.
Great. Thank you, Ismail. I have a couple of questions for Ian. Not underestimating the intelligence of these students over here and the type and degree of excuses that they can come up to get out of a test. Can AI help you decipher what is going on in the kid's head and what is going on? And the second question would be related to that. How can AI support personalized testing pathways while ensuring consistency and fairness in test difficulty across different student experiences?
Thank you, Dr. Naqvi, for the two questions. You're testing my memory as well, because yes, of course now with the use of AI, I think many of us have stopped using our brain cells. I think one thing that we have to actually look at when we look at AI is that AI is designed as a tool to support education. It's not there to replace education. And I think that's what many of us forget at the end of the day. I think we also have to realize as well that, say, for example, we have students using ChatGPT for their extended essay or for an assignment in Cambridge. You know, it's there to generate ideas. It is not there to generate it for them. So one of our responsibilities as educators is to ensure that we teach them ethical responsibility and ethical use of technology within the classroom and beyond, which is one of the most important points. Because, you know, we live in a new generation, the Gen X, the Gen Z, you know, and the Gen Alpha generation. And the children today are totally different. You know, they live on their smartphones. They spend 98% of their time on technology. rather than communicating with friends or communicating with family. So times have changed. And my question to you, Dr. Naqvi, on the way back will be, how has education adapted to the changes, the very fast changes coming in with AI, with technology, with COVID? Have we really kept up? My answer to that would be no. Secondly, with AI, are we introducing it too quickly into schools when we don't have the expertise necessary within not only Pakistan but beyond to actually do it? Because having been the session manager for the AI in education this morning, one of the main points that came up from all panelists was the lack of teacher training when it came down to AI in education. Now, I believe that many of the students here know a lot more about AI than we do. And I think until we actually upskill our own current workforce, then actually this conversation in many respects is a very difficult one to have. So that's why I'm throwing the question back to you also. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that we are in a fast-flowing river that we cannot stop or divert. The AI is here, the kids have it, we have it, and so let's talk about the future with AI. And in that brave new world, assessment is about looking at what you would like them to know, what you would like them to have learned, and to determine whether they have learned that or not. So I'd like to ask Emily, that does the world of AI change that fundamental question about assessment, about what we are assessing?
I'm not convinced. I think one of my favorite...
You have to speak into the mic a little bit.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes about AI is, artificial intelligence is neither artificial nor intelligent. It's designed by humans, it's programmed by humans, it's used by humans. It is a human tool, like Ian said, it is a tool that we can use. So whilst it might be able to generate ideas, they are still the ideas that have been input by human beings. And any assessment that we do will just be a reflection of what we input into it. So I think there's a lot of research coming out to show that AI can be an excellent tool and an excellent apprentice, but we still have to take ownership of being the experts. We have the expertise, and as long as we can tailor what we're putting into it, then we can do great things with it. But if we put garbage in, we're going to get garbage out.
Great.
Can we add on?
Yeah, please go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I think in terms of kind of what we assess, as adults in the room, students, you're not included in this, but as adults in the room, we're the transition generation, right? So we've grown up with the body of knowledge that's needed, and we've learned to learn, which is what, I think somebody said this yesterday, it's what education is, it's learning to learn. So we've grown up with this, and then this wonderful tool has come, which we can use that. We can take what we know, and we can use that to supplement, and that's great. I worry that the next generation will not develop that body of knowledge. Then they'll not learn how to learn unless we're very careful, and they could end up being super reliant on AI, and that's really worrying. And so in terms of kind of what we assess, how we assess, then counterintuitively almost, I think it really shows the need for high stakes assessment. So I think that's really important, that kind of, the testing of kind of the skills they have, the knowledge they have, maybe less the knowledge, but the skills, and testing that they've actually gone through the learning process is really super important. And I can see a world in which you have high stakes assessment, but of course, maybe we need to look at a second part being more of an open book examination, which looks at how students are using AI and how they can, how they can prompt engineer. And I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. I don't think that we kind of, it's an either or. But I think the future, we need to kind of like start to bring in the idea of open book and how and testing kind of how students are using the AI and make sure that they're using it responsibly as well.
Okay. For the students out there, what Catherine just said, let me break it up and describe it to you from my experience of university, because I went to university before the internet, if you can imagine such a time. And I was given an open book exam once. And we sat there for 2 hours and nothing happened. So the instructor said, okay, why don't you just take it home with you? So we went and took it home and spent the whole weekend. I spent, days and nights at the library trying to figure out that problem. So I think this AI may be heading you into trouble over here. But
I think, it's actually very interesting at the end of the day, because I think looking at the future of the different exam boards, how they're switching to a more online, exam system, both for the Cambridge and for Pearson and for IB, because they know the change in the demographics of the students globally and the skill set as well. Now, when it comes to that, now, of course, we had a very interesting conversation about this, about every child being different. And I think this is one of the key things about assessment. At the moment, how all children are assessed, we treat them like they're all the same. And that's not fair, right? Every child in this room and globally is different. And, I think we also have to remember the difference between skills versus knowledge as well. And that's something that we do forget when we're looking at assessments, that we do that one-size-fits-all approach, and that no longer works. So I think, all organizations are actually looking at different ways to actually do that. Now, to take that into research as well, one of the original gurus of assessment for Cambridge originally was Dylan William, who wrote Inside the Black Box back many, many years ago. And now he's just retired. He worked for the IB and wrote the new ongoing assessment. So, another thing that we need to look at is for high stakes assessment, is it right to give students a one-time end-of-year exam using AI, or is it better to give students an opportunity for ongoing assessment to give them a better opportunity for the future?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Totally.
So let's ask our AI bot over here that considering that every child is different and has different abilities, how would you design assessment systems that will push each child to their limit?
Great question. I design adaptive assessments that adjust in real time to a child's skill level, offering challenges that match their abilities while providing support when needed. Incorporating diverse question types and formats can also engage different strengths and learning styles.
Okay, so let me go back to Ismail over here and ask him, what role should educators and policymakers play in setting ethical boundaries for AI-driven testing?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It's a great question, really. And a lot of people, a lot of educators and experts from different big organizations have been discussing this. In my opinion, I think data privacy would be number one. So protecting students' data, the most important thing for this when it is developed, that students' privacy and students' data are not used and abused. So, and in this case, I would say we will have to have like some standards and regulations. So policymakers should really establish standards for data privacy, consent, and acceptable monitoring practices. This is really important. Another important thing, in my opinion, is having also like some guidelines to monitor everything. So creating those guidelines that reflect on the educational values and our involvement as educators or as policymakers in this case is to really ensure that AI-driven tests prioritize learning outcomes and learning objectives in general. And one last point, Dr. Suhail, is regular audits. So yes, we need to protect the data privacy of the students. This is crucial. We need to have like specific guidelines to oversee the development process, but we will need also to have regular audits and some quality assurance in place. So to summarize, it's data privacy, creating guidelines, and regular audits.
Thank you. Okay, on to Emily, and talking about language. Now, with technology, we have the ability to actually separate language from what we want to assess. So if it was a chemistry or a computer exam or whatever, we have the ability to take actually the exam in any language. Mm-hmm. And in the context of Pakistan, where essentially all exams are becoming exams of the English language rather than the subject matter, what role could AI be playing for the future?
I think this is a real benefit of AI, that it can provide these translations for students, it can provide support for students who are perhaps studying in their second, third, fourth language. So if they're being tested in maths, they can actually answer the maths rather than having to understand the language wrapped around the maths. So I think that's really, really important and very, very useful, but not just for those written languages, also for sign languages or for students who maybe have visual impairments, etc. All of those different kind of access needs, I think AI can play a very important part to ensure that there's proper inclusion. But I would just also say that the language that's input into the AI also has to be inclusive. So we're not just prioritizing the one standard language group. So for example, in English, my English is not standard because I'm from the north and I say bus rather than bus. I say London rather than London. So I don't have a standard RP accent. So we do need to make sure that regional languages and minoritized languages are also captured to make sure that it's truly inclusive.
Great. Ian.
And Scottish, of course. Sorry, Ian.
Yeah, Ian.
I was going to say, what do you do with the Scottish?
Yeah, as somebody from Scotland, what's your take on language and the Queen's English writing everything over here?
Well, you know, I'm in between two ladies who, of course, are from the north of England, so actually can't speak English at all. And actually, the Queen's English is actually from Scotland. Historically, if people didn't know it, it actually comes from Edinburgh, my home city. So I'm the only one who can speak English here. No, actually, one of the downsides of AI is the language, you know, requisite, what's the word? Understanding.
Yeah.
You know, so if I go into my Scottish accent properly, so you bank some brazen one, you do can you bloom say fresh and fair. None of you understand the word I'm saying, but neither does AI, right? So it is a downside that AI still needs to adapt to certain languages of certain people. And I've seen from my teachers at TNS using AI, you know, in Punjabi accents, it just doesn't understand them at all, right? Because they switch. You know, in Pakistan, we trans language, we switch language. So you go, how are you today, TK? Right? Now you've just confused the whole thing, yeah? And that's one thing that we need to actually adapt with AI.
But don't we need a smarter system then? I mean, what's the problem with those languages?
I think, thank you, Sahil, for putting me on the spot for that one. No, but actually, at the end of the day, there are programs out there that actually can switch between the languages, and Google is doing a very good job with that at the moment. And I think, you know, with the different tools coming out, it will be tri-bilingual and be able to trans-language as we go.
Okay, so taking this issue a little further and sort of delving a little deeper into biases, AI is able to respond because it is trained on something. Now, the training for the data that is there for training is not coming from Pakistan. So how will that impact the future of the use of AI in assessments?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of examples, isn't there, of AI being trained on data sets, and then the data sets themselves being not appropriate for that group. And it isn't just by country. So I think there was a study done in somewhere like Pennsylvania where the data set was trained on suburban students, and it didn't fit the learning style of the students in the city centre, and nor did it fit rural students. So it is a real problem, and I think it's a challenge that we are going to have to overcome. I mean, the classic one, I think there was when AI first came out, then there was a university, I think in the UK, that was asking AI to look at patterns and decide who to admit into medical school. And because fewer females have been admitted into medical school historically, then the AI learned that as a pattern and told the admissions tutors not to admit females into medical school. So it is a real problem. In terms of kind of that bias that it shows, I mean, I think that's something that future iterations of AI will get better at, and we just have to train it on a very diverse range of data types. I think in terms of kind of just flipping it a bit and talking about bias within assessments, then in terms of thinking about how we might start to use AI in the examination system, then actually I think it can be used to take the bias out of the system in a sense. So we've got AI routinely, and this is kind of in testing, it's not being used at the moment, but for Pearson EdXL, then we know that we can quite accurately mark essay questions, and the AI will not show any bias towards it. Now, try as we might using human markers, then they always show some form of bias. And of course, you put an essay in front of 3 or 4 human markers, you're likely to get a slightly different mark each time. And so actually there's potential there for AI to kind of remove some of the bias from the assessment system.
Great. Ian?
I think there's a bias that we haven't thought about here as well. Because look, Pakistan is at the forefront in many respects of AI integration and AI development. So for example, one of the first AI teacher bots was actually created in Karachi last year, which is incredible. The work of people such as Monis Rahman, etc., who started off with Dukan and is now working with the Chinese with Alipay, etc., is fantastic. You've got the NetSol with the Gauris, which the work they're doing with AI is going to, expand Pakistan's reach. However, we're forgetting one thing, right? We're talking about the benefits of AI, but we're also missing out that 27.7% of Pakistani children are not in education. Mm-hmm. We also have to remember that over 50% do not have access to the internet, let alone Chromebooks or laptops. So therefore, if we are talking about the future of AI, currently as it stands, even with the Prime Minister's laptop scheme, the issue behind that is we're still looking at the elite only of Pakistan and not Pakistan as a country. And this is something that we need to all look at as different boards to ensure equality of education for all across Pakistan.
Very good. Thanks. Ismail, taking this issue of bias a little bit further, what safeguards are necessary to ensure that AI doesn't inadvertently disadvantage certain student populations?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with everyone, and I agree with everything that was just said about how results could be biased. So I think to resolve such issues, we should start looking at transparency in algorithms and results. So making sure that those algorithms and their results are transparent to educators, students, parents, all the policymakers, just to help identify those potential issues at an early stage. Another thing is actually we have to keep monitoring and get real-life data from those tools, because getting those real-life feedback the feedback and the data, analyzing them regularly, it will help us monitor the performance across different demographics. And it will also help identify whether a certain group is affected by some of those AI decisions. So another thing, in my opinion, would be the human about that the humans actually created AI tools. So we have to keep monitoring those tools, and we have to intervene when needed. So just like to provide training for those people who are using it, or provide support when needed. So educators should really retain the ability to review and adjust the scores and the outcomes as it appears, so that we do not have any sort of disadvantaged groups. So to summarize again, I think transparency in algorithms and results, it's really important while creating those tools, monitoring real time and feedback, and the human intervention that is really needed.
So let's ask our bot here that since AI knows everything and it can solve any problem and any question, what is the future of learning for humans? Where should humans be focusing on?
The future of learning for humans will focus on creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence, skills that AI can't fully replicate. Humans should embrace lifelong learning, collaboration, and adaptability to thrive alongside AI technology. It's all about enhancing our unique abilities.
Pretty smart answer there. So let's ask our panelists over here, what are their thoughts on this crucial issue?
I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement with the AI. I think a lot of the detractors of AI think of it sort of in the wrong way. So they think of it in terms of, well, there's this much stuff to do, whether it be in education or whether it be in the world of work. There's this much stuff to do, and if AI does this much, then there's only a little bit left for me to do. And I think it's really important to flip it, right? Because it isn't about what's left. It's what more can you do if much of the menial stuff is done by AI. So can we take ourselves to new levels of creativity, new levels of critical thinking? If all of that kind of relatively mundane stuff is done by the AI. So I think just a plea really, embrace it and let's see what more we can do using that to help us as a tool.
Can I just
go ahead.
As a note of warning, as a teacher, there's research coming out of Harvard to say that AI is better than us. There's a research paper that's currently peer review that has come out to say that in terms of knowledge teaching, AI is performing better in this specific study. So it's still very limited and there's still much more to do. But in the transfer of knowledge, AI can do it more efficiently because it can simplify, it can use the more direct methods of transferring that knowledge to students, right? But that's only knowledge transfer. And what Catherine said there, I think, is really important. That application and the creativity involved afterwards and how you use that, or what you then do with that knowledge, that we're not testing enough. And I do think that is where humans still definitely have that major part to play.
And I think to follow on from that as well, you know, with the Harvard paper that's coming out, so it's a joint paper with Harvard Education School and the Business School. And, you know, it's a discussion that we were having, you know, that of course AI is going to have more knowledge than us. It's a walking dictionary, it's a walking encyclopedia, Wikipedia, Netflix, all in one. However, you know, one thing that I said at the start is skills versus knowledge.
Exactly.
Right? And it needs to go back to that, because at the end of the day, right, it's our job as educators here and for the students here to ensure that our students know different ways to be creative, different ways to be communicators. And, you know, this is the core skills that we need to teach in school, along with the knowledge for them to succeed. Because if you look at the 2024 World Economic Forum results that came out for employers, right? Yes, it shows that you need to have digital literacy, etc., but it shows all the other skills that you need to have, including customer focus skills, including negotiation skills, all these different skills that were not included 5 years ago. So yes, AI has taken over in terms of the knowledge and the content aspect, but it will never, I feel like Braveheart. If anyone's seen that film, they'll never take our freedom, right? They will never be able to take the human element away from AI, from us.
Great. I think I want to build on a little bit of what Catherine was saying, and to treat AI and the availability of all of knowledge as a liberating factor, and to think all of this little stuff that we talked about can be done. So how do we challenge the human to actually start playing the human role of the ultimate reflection of the creator, and in terms of their creativity and the emotional quotient development, its relationship to humans? Do we need to have a rethink of education itself?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, what is the purpose of education? I think that's the question. Do we want to educate our children, or do we want to school them? Do we want to create creative, thoughtful individuals, or just people who can rote learn and recite? So what's the purpose of the education system, I think, is the question to be answered there. And can AI, as I mentioned earlier, can AI assess a philosophy essay as well as it can a maths paper? You know, we need to also be thinking about what exactly we're focusing on in terms of subjects as well.
Okay.
I think for students, then education needs to be about learning to learn, right? And so it's developing those skills that they need. And yes, I think the education system, as is set up at the moment, probably isn't quite fit for purpose for that. It's a high volume juggernaut, and yeah, I think AI will start to help us start to make those changes.
Great. Well, we have now headed into the question answer session, when we have the first question here for Catherine. And of course, it's about the open book exams.
Yeah.
With adaptive AI-based assessment, would open book exams help evaluate true understanding of students' learning? What is your take on it?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a great question. And coming back to your example, Sahel, of the nightmare of the open book. I'd slightly agree. I hated open book exams, but maybe with the adaptive AI, then actually that helps students make that leap with the open book exams that you or I weren't able to kind of back in the.
Well, you hate it because it really pushes you. And
yes, of course.
And so there is this idea that, you know, we are mollycoddling education too much and infantilizing it. So while to be educated, you have to sweat it out a little bit. Sorry, students. So it would be good to have a student on the panel and get their observation on this.
It would. Yeah, I think we represent a certain demographic, and next year SOT organizers, let's get some kids up to get their viewpoint on this sort of thing, because they're the ultimate end users, and they're the biggest stakeholders in this. But coming back to that idea about whether the open book is the way forward, I think it sits with more high stakes assessment. I think it can't be the only thing that we test, because then we'll roll into just testing ability to use AI, and that's a dangerous world. So I don't think it would stand alone.
Ian, has AI played a role in improvising your school's approach to testing and evaluation? Can you share an example?
So I can share a few examples here. I would
You
say,
didn't plant that question, did you? You didn't plant that question.
No. It was Dr. Shazia from TNS Goldberg who's paying no attention. Now she's not speaking to me. So basically we have adaptive testing using a number of different programs at TNS Beacon House. So we use Cobit's Maths as an example, which actually is an adaptive math program which is based on Singaporean math. And it's great. One downside to it is the language aspect that we mentioned before with the word problems. But we also have IXL, which is an adaptive assessment for language, math, and also science, which we use heavily. We're also a test school for the IB. So we're actually testing at the moment the new online exam for the IB, and also the open book exam for the IB as well. So, you know, we are trialing a few different things, but one thing that we are still working on is training our teachers and training our parents and training our students, because at the end of the day, this is a new world for all of us. And, you know, 5 years ago, we had ICT teachers. Now there's no need for them. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in schools and from either education level, be that from universities or beyond, to actually bring education and AI into schools to support them.
Okay. I think that this also leads into the next question that was asked, which was, what training should the educators go to utilize AI for high-stakes testing? And maybe, Emily, you'd like to take a stab at that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say experiment with it. You're not going to break it.
Yeah.
And it's fun to use it. But I think the trick is to not mistake it for Google. It's much more powerful than Google. And I think the mistake that people make is they just put a question in and that's it. But actually interrogating that question, asking AI to tell you what you've missed. Oh, what would be a better question? What are some arguments against that? Or, for example, those are just some little tricks, but play with it. But there's also a very good tool for educators who are concerned about including all their students, a brilliant open access AI designed by a wonderful educator called Beth Stark. She's created an AI bot called Ludia, and it's designed around the universal design for learning, and it will give teachers, they can put in their lesson plan, and it will give teachers hints and tips to adapt their lesson to include different students.
What was the name of that?
Ludia, Ludia, and it's open access, free, nothing to do with Hodder education, totally free to access, and is just an excellent tool made by a wonderful educator who is really concerned about inclusive education.
Excellent. So one question from the students' perspective. Should students have the right to challenge or appeal AI-based decisions in their assessment? If so, how might this be implemented effectively? And maybe because Ian is going to be the first one facing that, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Naqvi, again, for putting me on the spot with this one, yeah? I think at the end of the day, you know, there are policies and procedures in place from all of the different organizations for the use of AI and the ethical use of AI. Now, there's still a lot of discussion between all organizations to make sure they're on the same page with this as well. Because at the end of the day, look, don't get me wrong, as educators, as teachers, as heads of school, we use AI as well for different things. So we're just as guilty. We use it for, you know, thought generation. We use it to write policies, for goodness sake. So we understand. So even when I was helping my students with their ED applications for university last week, you know, some of our students have written the most beautiful ED applications or UCAS applications. Now for UCAS, they have a stupid character count. Yep. And of course, the only way that we managed to get it down, because it was perfect, was to use AI. And there's no issue behind that, because it's allowed by UCAS, it's allowed by Common App, Cambridge, IB, Pearson, you name it, it's done. So it's that ethical use, right? You need to be honest, because at the end of the day, remember, when you hand in your assignments, be that Cambridge, be that IB, it does go through a Turnitin checker, which you'll find also at university, that now can highlight the use of AI. So make sure that you are honest, right? Because you will be caught if not.
Okay, going back to Ismail and talking about technology, what are the primary technical hurdles that need to be overcome to ensure AI-based assessments are accurate, reliable, and robust?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to make one more comment on the last question from the students. So I think the students have the right, like to use AI, but there is one important thing, as Ian mentioned also, they have to be honest about it and some other factors as well. But in my opinion, the most important thing is if using AI for them is really making a positive impact on their learning or not. So this is, like, I think, a crucial point in this. And that's why we're talking here about maybe developing different frameworks to assess any kind of AI tutor tool or any AI tool that is being used in the schools, or even if it is open source. So that was just a comment on the previous question, but back to your question, Dr. Suhail. I think it's really essential to look at data quality. This is really important. So because one of the major challenges in ensuring that the data used to train AI models is high quality and representative of diverse student populations. This is really important. And this is also to avoid any kind of biasness at a later stage. And again, I will go back to the algorithm because it's really essential here, like algorithm clarity and rationale behind it. This is important because the people who are actually developing those AI tools, I don't know, like I don't know if some of them are educators or like they talk to educators when they are developing those educational tools. I'm talking about the educational tools in particular. But many of those AI models, especially deep learning systems such as ChatGPT or any other tools, are really complex and operate as black boxes. So it is really hard to understand how they are making decision or their decision-making process. So it's really important to understand the rationale behind those algorithms. And by the way, when I talk about algorithms, I have to be a bit technical here, because we need to understand more about the systems that are being used to develop those kind of systems or those kind of tools, like transformers, neural network, decision trees, and random forests. I think I'm mentioning those because I'm expecting maybe some of the audience would be interested to read about them. And the last point to answer this question is the consistency. Consistency across devices and environments, just to make sure that like students have all different types of students actually have tested environments, so it is not a challenge for them to use any kind of device in any environment. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go back to our bot here and ask the question, can an AI assessment ever be wrong? What is research telling us? And what should we do if it is wrong?
Yes, AI assessments can be wrong due to biases in data or misinterpretation of responses. Research emphasizes the importance of human oversight to catch errors. If an AI assessment is wrong, it's crucial to review the results, provide feedback, and adjust the algorithms to improve accuracy.
I think done.
Seems to be giving very, very good answers over here. That's why I was saying I have with me actually the questions that were generated using AI, and then I fed the questions into AI and asked it to generate answers. So it gave me answers also. So that's what led to the initial comment. Do we need a moderator and panelists for the next session on AI and education here? In any case, let's reflect on that a little bit in the 2 minutes that you have. So some summarizing comments, Emily?
Well, the AI bot has mentioned learning styles twice, which is a myth that's been debunked over and over. So I wouldn't put all of my faith in what AI is delivering right now.
Okay. Ian?
Teachers will always have a job. You are educationalists. You are the people of the future. You will not be replaced for the next 50 years. Watch the space.
And I want to go back to not this panel, but the previous panel where I was moderator, and we had some AI-generated questions. And I took those questions, and I liked 2 of them maybe. I didn't like 3 of them. And so I took it, I took some out, I reshaped, I reworked. I worked in collaboration with the group yesterday, and we rewrote some.
That's pretty much how everybody's working these days with AI.
Yeah? And I think, that kind of, don't just rely on AI. Put the questions in, and then we had the list that came out, and like, fine. There's a lot of human creativity that builds on AI that AI at the moment cannot replicate.
Okay. And Ismail, I understand that you're doing some interesting work that you would like to share with us on the future of AI and assessment.
Yes, we are definitely. But before I share those with the audience, I would like to mention something that was really interesting to me when I knew about it. So I didn't really know that one single query on a ChatGPT, for example, would consume an energy between 10 to 100 watts per second. This is really huge. And the carbon footprint for one single query on ChatGPT is actually has an effect of 10 to 50 grams of carbon dioxide. So I was amazed at myself when I knew that. So that's why I decided to share it with everybody.
It's just important.
Yes, of course it is important. So ChatGPT is amazing. Sorry, like AI tools, all of the AI tools, not just ChatGPT. They are amazing tools, but they have a huge impact on the environment. Like we cannot forget about this. So back to your question. Apologies. So yes, at Cambridge actually it's really.
And 30 seconds only, please.
20 seconds. So. Okay. Yes, at Cambridge, we're developing a couple of things. Things are under development at the moment, so nothing concrete yet. But yes, Cambridge is leveraging artificial intelligence to enhance assessment content development. And this is being done by utilizing our extensive an archive of exam level questions. Also, like we're incorporating the Cambridge IP, including the syllabi, schemes of work, and teacher guides. So we're doing this. We're working with many experts, like subject matter experts, and we have quality assurance process in place. Just like back to the guidelines that I mentioned earlier, we're developing this as well. The other thing is the AI teaching assistance that is being developed at the moment. And this is like designed to support key teaching activities such as lesson planning, differentiation strategies that I talked about it when I answered your first question, Dr. Said, and also like resource recommendations. The last thing and the most important thing for me, because I'm personally part of this implementation plan, we do have an AI implementation support strategy. So we're collaborating with different ministry partners across the globe. So here, for example, like in the MENA region, I work personally with some of those Ministry of Education partners to develop evaluation frameworks for the AI EdTech products. So we're actually really interested to know what is the impact on the students' learning, because yes, we can talk about AI for decades, but if it doesn't have an impact, a positive impact on the students' learning, then it might not be helpful for them, maybe at a later stage of their life. So yeah, this is just in summary what Cambridge is working on at the moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ismail. Thank you, Catherine, Ian, Emily, and of course our bot over here. I think we can conclude by saying that the only constant is change. AI has opened a wonderful new world, pushing the boundaries up of what human capabilities are, which we know are endless. And as educators, I think it's a great new world that we'll be looking at. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for School of Tomorrow for this opportunity here.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, the session with Dr. Thomas Guskey is cancelled.
कैंसिल हो गया